All right, today's math is going over, it's a review. It's a review of what we did yesterday, which is guess and test, okay? With the guess and test, these are things that are normally, that happen in the world, okay? Right now, I want your pencils down, I want your iPads down, and I want you paying attention, okay? If you go to the grocery store and you go buy hot dogs, you buy the hot dogs, they sometimes come in a package of 7. Sometimes they'll come in a package of 8, okay? Sometimes they come in a package of 10, okay? But when you go and buy the hot dog buns, they just come in a package of 8. There's 4 on the top, 4 on the bottom. And it's a package of 8. Now, if you happen to buy the Nathan's hot dogs that are the bun size length, I think they come in a package of 7. So all of a sudden, here you are buying 7 hot dogs, but you got 8 buns. It doesn't, I'm just using something that it actually works with, okay? That this guess and test actually goes through with, okay? And so you're always ending up with either 1 or 2 more hot dogs and not enough buns, or you got more buns than you do hot dogs. So sometimes there are ways to figure it out to where you get the same number of hot dogs and the same number of buns, okay? So if you get a package that has 6 hot dogs in it, and you get a package of buns that has 8 buns in it, where is the first amount of numbers that you're gonna end up with that you're gonna have enough buns for enough hot dogs and you're not gonna have anything extra?
48.
48 would work, but that's not the first one. Because what you did was 8 times 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that will give it to you. Okay?
49.
Nope.
56. 8 times 7.
Nope. You got 6 hot dogs and 8 buns.
Oh. 32.
Nope.
Wait. 50. Wait. 66 hot dogs. 666. 6,660. Whoa. Ow. Oh man. What? I don't know what? That's been
What would it be? I just pointed it out.
6,600.
No.
6 times 4 and 8 times 3.
Is what?
Well, 8 times 3 is 20. Oh. They're both equal 24. 8 times 3 is 24, and 6 times 4 is 24.
So if you bought 3 packages of buns, how many buns would you have?
Oh,
24. If you bought 4 packages of hot dogs, 24. Because if you buy 4 of each, sitting there thinking, oh, I got a package of hot dogs, I got to get a package of buns. It doesn't come out right because the hot dogs, there's 6 hot dogs in the package and there's 8 buns in the package. So it's not, you're always gonna have 2 extra for each one. But if you sit and figure it out, what's the first one where there is a common multiple? Okay? Where is it that they come into a common multiple? This is the guess and test, in a way, okay? In a small way. Now, they give you today a problem where you are having to, you're selling calendars and hats, okay? The calendars cost $12. I'm at the top.
Oh. This is so hard. I'm so confused. How
And
do
the
we
hat-
get 6,000?
calendars cost $12 each. The hats cost $16 each. Okay? They are selling 91 of them total between the hats and the calendars. So you could sell 90 of these and one of these. That's a total of 91. Okay? Between the two, there's 91 that are sold. And they also have to get to $1,164. Okay? Now, what they normally do is they split it in half. And then you go from there. So if we were to do, and this is the way they do it in the book, 50 hats or 50 calendars, that would leave me with 41 hats. Okay? 50 plus 41 is 91. So I have the first goal taken care of. I've got 91 sold. Now, the total for the calendars, $600. It says this in the book. You're on page 41. Then you have 656 for the total for the hats.
How'd you get 91?
41 times 16.
How'd you get 91? Where'd you get 16? Oh no, I see it.
It's in the directions. It says the hats cost $16. The calendars cost $12. They sold 91 of them together. And their total cost was this. So now you're trying to figure out how many hats and how many calendars did they sell. So if I say, start just guessing and say 50 calendars, 50 times 12 is 600, okay? 41 hats, because I gotta add up to get to 91. So 41 hats at $16 comes to 656. Now, if I add these two numbers together, I get 1256, which is over. So I gotta bring it down. So the way that they have it, where they're bringing it down, is they move to 80 here. They're doing more of the smaller amount and less of the higher end amount. Hopefully that's gonna bring it down. So if I sell 80 of these, how many does that leave me with these? 11. Because I gotta get to 91. 80 plus 11, that's 91. So then they tell you in the book, it's 960. How did I get that? 80 times 12. And then 11 times 16. Is that what it says?
Yeah.
And when I add these two together, 6.
1136.
Close.
A little higher.
I'm getting close though. I need to go a little higher. So what would I need to do to go up?
80. No. You make a lower number and then make the like for example you do like 60 and then make like the second number go up to like 40 something.
So this goes lower
Yeah.
and this goes
Higher.
higher. Okay? What they do next? They did 70. So now 70 times 12 was
40. Well, I didn't even do both. Oh, yeah.
and 21 times And then when I add those together,
1,170.
ooh,
Very, very close.
12 off. So then they went to 73 was what?
876. How is 1,164?
Now, in this, did you see how they went up and down?
Yeah.
Okay? And what they did was they started with like halfway point, come up with some numbers that are easy to multiply, that are about halfway, and that way they can figure out, do I need to go higher or do I need to go lower? Andrew, can you put your pencil down, please? Now, this first one, do you have an idea of how you're gonna get to this? No. And that's where it's a guess. You're just coming out with a couple of numbers, and let's see if we can figure this out from here. It's a guess. Then you test it. You said, well, 50 and 41, yeah, they equal 91, so I've got one of them. That's pretty easy to figure out, the first one. It's trying to get it to that magic number, that magic dollar amount. In this way, you can find out exactly how many calendars they sold and how many hats they sold. Because it comes to the same price here as what they were told that it had. Okay? You gotta get both numbers right. Okay? Here, the first thing that you're doing is keeping this number the same by doing 50 and 41. It's like a halfway point. 5 times 12 is 60. Add 0 on. That's one of those easy ones that they did. Yesterday we did 10 and 10. Those are easy numbers to multiply and start with. And then figure out, do I need more or do I need less? Here, you needed less. Here, we went too far. So it's somewhere between 50 and 80. But we were figuring out this isn't that far off. So it's closer to 80 than it is to 50. Okay? And that's how you're gonna do this. It's a guess, it's a test. It's a challenge is what it is. I always take it as a challenge because, hey, this is cool. I got this number that I know, this number that I know, and I gotta figure out, put the pieces together so that it works just right, so I end up with this number and this number. Okay? Cece,
Can we get the first one?
can you what?
Can we get the first one? Yeah.
Do you wanna do it together?
I honestly
Okay.
don't understand it at all. I understand the first one.
I don't understand.
I don't understand it at all. So
Me
hold on.
either.
I don't understand it at all.
My head just
I
did.
have no
It
idea.
makes no sense. Why should I do this? I feel like that's
All right. Ryan, read it for me. Nice and loud.
An electronics kit company uses 16,052 LEDs each day to make 303 robot kits and 1,025 flashlight kits. How many LEDs are in the robot kit and how many LEDs are in the flashlight kit? Use the table to track your guesses. Hint, start with 10 LEDs in each kit.
Okay? So you've got 16,052 that we gotta end up with, right?
Okay.
And LEDs, all that is it's a light. Okay? It's in there. It's a special light. Each day to make 303 robots. and 1,025 flashlight kits, how many LEDs are in the robot kit and how many LEDs are in the flashlight kit? So, the way they have it set up, they have it as guess. And the first guess is 10. Guess number 1. You're gonna put 10 here.
10 here.
Move my eraser.
Next one.
So if you have let's stop with that.
Thank you.
All right, first we have 10 and 10 is what they said. Okay? Now, if I have 10 LEDs in one robot, how many would I have in 303 robots?
3,030.
You have to kind of hold on when you write this down.
All right, now,
Would you turn them together? Is that how you-
if I have 10 LEDs in a flashlight, how many would I have in 1,025?
10,250. I did that one.
I was like 10.
How many LEDs have I used?
Wait, 13,280?
13,000. Now, this first guess,
Not even close.
do you see how I'm doing it? How it's done in the book? You have, this is just a guess. This has nothing, this is your first guess, that's it. That's all that it's saying, just one, okay? We're gonna see how many guesses it can take before you can get the right one, okay?
Flashlight one is good.
Now, if you do 10 LEDs in one robot, and there's 303 robots, this number isn't gonna change, this number isn't gonna change, okay? If I multiply this, 303 by 10, this is what I get. If I multiply this number by 10, that's what I get. How many LEDs did I use? I add these two together, and I get this. What do I need to get to?
16,052.
I need to get to this number, okay? I gotta figure a way to get there. I'm at 13,000. I gotta have more than 10 for each. So, next up, let's try 8 and 12. I need some numbers. You need to tell me some numbers to fill in. I gave you hints.
I already done that one. 2424.
For this,
Yes.
did you do 8?
Yes, I did. 2424. Yeah, that's what I got. That's what I got too. It
Okay.
might be wrong because I always get that first one wrong.
Did you do 12?
Yeah, I got 1, 2, 3, 0, 0.
And then if I added,
And then if you added, I got 14724.
am I getting closer?
Yes.
Yes. So I'm heading in the right direction. Okay?
After that, I put 5 and 15.
You did 5 and 15?
Yeah, after that, I did that.
Okay. I'll put it down.
I don't have the answer. I have, well, the answer for the problem. It's 1515.
1515?
Yeah, and then.
Yeah, when you're multiplying by 303, whatever you carry goes down. So you're gonna end up, if you notice, 30, 30, 24, 24, 15, 15. If you did 9 and 9, or if you did 9, it'd be 27, 27. Okay, because it's a pattern that you're gonna run into with that number of 303. Okay, math is a bunch of patterns.
And.
15,
15375. And then the big answer I got was 16880.
Oh. I'm done.
And I don't have any more. That was my
We gotta find
that's
the
too
final
much.
answer.
Let me try one for you.
6 and 14. 7 and 13. 4
That's
and
gonna
10.
be the answer.
7 and 13.
Yeah.
He's 9. Oh, okay. He is
9 and
9 and 14.
The other one I got
Yep,
was
9 and 14.
Well, multiply. I need to find some answers.
Honestly.
I'll tell you this right now.
2727.
What's this one gonna be?
2727.
No clue.
Can you do it in your head?
14,350 for the next one.
What?
What is it?
That's 14,350 for the next one.
Yeah. So happy we're doing the first one together.
Then when I add them,
I'm gonna be so lost on the next one.
Yep.
Me too.
How do you get the
16,
What if we don't get it? Then that's our last thing. We can erase it.
Yeah. I had another one, but I didn't put it down because I just did it on my desk because I didn't put it was wrong. It was
Oh, come on.
it's not the answer.
Yeah, it's not the answer.
It's not the answer.
So off. Okay.
Yeah.
That's 17. I told you 7 and 13.
17 or 17.
No, so
I think it's 7 and 13.
I mean, then you tried 8 and 13.
how far off am I?
Very far.
Very far.
Like 10,000.
1,025 off. I
No,
think.
but about one. Wrong.
No,
Wait.
you're a little bit more.
I'm going 7 and 13.
It could be 9 and 13. 1,015 off.
Oh, all of the ones that I did added up to 20.
It could be 9 and 13.
I see 7. Oh! What?
How far am I off?
1,000.
I said that.
Okay, so it's. Oh,
I
okay, so
really don't know. I don't know the answer. You said
I know it.
Guys,
It's 9:30.
don't start trying to figure new numbers.
9:30.
Look at the numbers that are up here.
They're not right.
Look at the numbers that are up here.
What is it? I know what
It's
it
9:13.
Yes,
Liam,
Wait.
what is it?
9 and 13.
How did you get 9 and 13?
Because for 9 and 14, it was exactly 1,025 under, which is the amount of.
1,025 over.
Or over. So you just subtract one of the
And how much is in a flashlight?
1,025.
So if you take off one flashlight, you're taking off 1,025.
What?
What?
LED.
For every flashlight, there is 1,025 LEDs in it.
Oh.
So if you take one flashlight off of there, you're reducing this total number. Just that, you leave this number alone. So if we were to leave this alone, and we change this just by one down, we're taking 1,025 off. Okay? So you take 1,025 off, what do you end up with?
1605.
Because you're taking 1,025 off of here, and you end up with that. Okay? So it would be 9 and 13. So the 9 is 27, 27. This would be 1,025 less. So it's going to be 13, 3, 25. Which means that this is 16, 0, 52.
It's gonna take me about.
The thing is, Luke, listen, you're gonna get it. Because it's a matter of having to sit and figure out, do I go higher or do I go lower? Okay? And after our first guess, okay, we ended up with this many, right? Which meant that we were too low because we had to get here. Okay? We had to get there. You understand that? Okay? So then let's change the numbers around. We did 8 and 12. So we ended up with 14,724. We were still too low, but we're getting closer, aren't we? So then we tried 5 and 15. More of these because these were the bigger number ones. And we ended up with 16,880, which was 800 over. So then, that was Kane's guess.
I had 2 guesses.
Then we went with 9 and 14. Okay? And we came out with 1,777, which was even more than that. But I said, hey, wait, how far off are we? Because if we were 303 off, we would take one from this. But we were 1,025 off, so we took one from here. Made it 13, and then when you multiplied, you ended up with the right amount. You have to guess and go work your way down until you narrow it down to that. Okay? That's what you're doing. You're narrowing it down. You're guessing and testing. Guessing, testing. In the first 3, that's all that they were. We were too low. We were closer, but still too low. Then Kane went overboard. But it gave us parameters that it had to be somewhere between here. Okay? To get there. Ryan.
Let's see, I just don't know how to get the top numbers. And well, the
This?
middle. Yeah. And
That's given to you.
No, I mean like the top numbers, like the 1,500, 303.
That was given to you up in the top.
Yeah, I give you 2.
It tells you up there that each robot had 303.
Oh,
Okay? And each flashlight had 1,025. That's up in the writing part. That's where you have, that's where the first thing that comes into this is read and understand. Once you understand it, once you read it and understand it and figure out what you gotta do, then it's a matter of figuring out, all right, how many did they buy? Okay? If I did something with the hot dogs and the buns, and I said that you had 6 hot dogs in a package and 8 buns in a package, and there were $70 packages sold altogether, how many packages of hot dogs and how many packages of buns were sold to get an even amount so that there wasn't any hot dogs or any buns left over?
24 each, well, you get, like, if there was 8 and 6, you'd try to get 8 times 3, 24, and then 6 times 4 is 24.
But there were 70 packages sold.
70 packages.
Yeah. But see, at this point, you're figuring it out. You know that there's how many hot dogs in a package?
8 and 6.
6. How many hot dog buns are there in a package? 8. So if there's 6 here, 8 here, and 70 of them were sold, packages total, between the buns and the hot dogs, how many of each was sold so that they came out to where there were no buns left over and no hot dogs left over? It goes back to the problem that I gave you. It's 30 and 40.
Oh.
40 hot dogs, 30 buns. Okay? But you could start out with 35 and 35. Why that? Because that's halfway. If you wanted to start with 50 and 20, because they would add up to the 70 packages. Okay? And they have zeros on the end, so it's easier to add, to multiply. Okay? That's your first guess. Then you work from there. Okay? But it's a matter of reading and understanding the problem. Once you read it, once you understand it, then you can do it. Okay? You have workbook pages to do, 4 of them. 41, 42, 43, and 44. This is where it sounds like a lot, but because they have a lot of writing, it's not many problems. Okay? And it just, each problem takes up a lot more space than what you just did with multiplying 2-digit numbers. You had like 13, 14 problems on each page. This you got like 8. Between, well, you got maybe 16 problems at the most to do. 18. So, you also have E1 in iExcel to do. Just one. Yep. Is it off?
No.